Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Stroke, Staying Clean. And I'm so happy that you have time to be a part of my video. You must excuse my background. What y'all haven't don't know is that we moved, and so we're just trying to get things situated and get it the way we want it. We're letting go of some of the old and bringing in the new. So excuse the background, but the purpose is that I try not to stop giving information about recovery and addiction because I feel that's more important than my background. I feel that's more important than anything because recovery saved my life. And today I want to talk about letting go. Letting go. You know, when I was in my active addiction, I was so toe up about my past, wanting to make things right. And when I got into my recovery, that's all I could see, that I'll be able to make good on the promises that I've broken so many times, that I can reconnect with loved ones that I care so much about, that I'm sorry for the things that I've done. I'm believing that this walk of recovery is going to give me all these things back. But as I worked my program of recovery, I found out that it is not the truth. Recovery taught me that I have no control over people, places, or things. So that means that there are going to be some people that will forgive me and embrace me, and then there are other people that will hate me and don't want to have nothing to do with me. And recovery teaches me that I must live life on life's terms. So I must live life on life's terms. I must do what I need to do to stay clean and sober. It's a battle every day, not by using, but by living life on life's terms. That's the battle. See, recovery took the drug out of the equation and taught me that I have to face Robert and Robert's issues, Robert's traumas in the past, Robert's life skills, Robert, everything. Everything about Robert he must address. He must look at it. He must look at the past and say, I understand that person because that was his frame of mind at that particular time, which allows you to look back at yourself and you will learn to change your behavior, the way you look at things, the way you perceive things. But the hardest thing is to let go of a lot of connections from the past that makes it hard for us to move forward in our recovery. We must accept what we did to ourselves and to others, which is a very hard pill to swallow. Once we accept that and we make ourselves better, we feel that this is the catalyst to carry us back to the relationship and the lives of the loved ones that we destroyed and miss. But life on life's terms tells you that these people that you want to reconnect with does not want to reconnect with you in the proper manner. But they want to deal with you within the same pain of the past. That's when you have to let go and let a power greater than you keep you on focus on moving forward in your recovery. Because you've gotten hurt. This hurts you deeply because you believed in your heart that once I got myself together, that my life will reconnect with loved ones and friends and family. But that's not the case. People say, well, there's too much water under the bridge for us to connect back with you. Or I just can't trust you. But I'm better now. I've got the program of recovery. I have time. I've built the life for myself. I don't want to have to worry about that phone call saying that you had an overdose. So I feel the best way to protect myself is to have no contact with you. And that hurts. Statements like that hurts deeply because it rekindles that fire of pain and hurt that addiction has caused in your life, which makes it hard for you to move forward. But the interesting thing is, the program keeps it simple. I have no control over people, places, or things. I don't. I do not have no control. But I have control over Robert. I have control over Robert, the way he thinks, the way he acts, and the way he perceives things. Recovery taught me that, Robert, you need an open mind. You need to look at situations and take feelings out the equation. Take it out of the situation. Take feelings out of the situation and look at it honestly, openly, in the right way. Then you see the truth. When I look back on my past and the things I've done, and I looked at it without feelings, I understood how I got to where I am today. And by me having that understanding of myself in a very painful situation and life, then I know what I need to do so the situation doesn't happen again. Because I'm finally looking at myself in the right way. I'm looking at myself for the choices I made with the information that I had and how deeply I was hurt, trying to get relief from emotional and mental pain that was overwhelming me. You know, remember when the government closed a lot of state mental facilities and all these people were released and they ended up on the streets? And that was a time when I was homeless. And the people that I met that fit that criteria was trying to medicate themselves with street drugs just to cope with life. A lot of them wasn't addicts. They was just trying to cope with life, with their mental issues. But society says they're dope fiends. I learned in being homeless that everyone has a story where they got there, how they got there, how they ended up there. And if you listen to their stories, it has nothing to do with the love of drugs or alcohol. Every single case that I heard and have heard in my recovery tells me that the drug was used to dull the pain, the emotional and mental pain that the situation was giving the person. What they was suffering from, what they was dealing with. And people trying to get rid of that trauma, that pain, that emotional pain, medicates themselves with alcohol and drugs. So they don't feel it. So they don't feel that situation. And this is just a point of survival. This is a point of survival. In life, we're trying to live our best lives. But situations happen in our lives that knocks us all the way down. Everybody has situations that knock them down. There's not one person here that had that perfect life. They could say they do, but they're hiding some pain that they don't want nobody to know about. Because we're imperfect people and we all make mistakes. We all make bad choices at times, which causes us to have most emotional and mental pain. So there's so much that recovery has taught me that makes me keep the focus on Robert. Because we can constantly punish ourselves from the things of the past, wishing that the circumstances was different, that we did it a different way, that we couldn't find the right way, that it was someone else's fault that got us here. What recovery has taught me is that the past is written. There's nothing I can do about the past. But what I can do, I can make Robert better. I can make Robert better than yesterday by working on me today. And I work on me today and make me better today. And tomorrow, I do the same philosophy. It's a slow process because sometimes we just don't want to let go. We have to let go and let a power greater than ourselves help us along in our road to recovery. We need a power greater than ourselves. We need help. We need help to look at the painful things in our lives that we stuff, that we don't want to address because it's so painful. But these are the things that has kept me back and kept me into active addiction for 40 years. So I share this with you so you don't be in the predicament that I was in, sharing your pain for 40 years before you seek recovery. We all have suffered from something in our lives. We all have had pain in our lives. We all been hurt deeply, but we try to hide the emotional and the mental pain that it gives us. And the interesting thing is, we do not address these issues when the circumstances look exactly like this happens. Our minds flip back to the past pain, and we think the same thing is going to happen over again. And we react very defensive in the same way. Yes, and that's true. Why? Because I go through this. I've experienced this many, many, many times. And the only way I get better is going through it. Understanding that even though I react like that, after the fact of me acting like that, I look at it and realize I'm acting on my past and I'm not acting on my present. That's why it's very important for Robert to pay attention to Robert, because Robert can be his worst enemy by carrying the pain and the trauma of the past into the present and into the future. I hope I shared some things today that will resonate with you. I hope that you learn to let go, start new. That's what recovery is all about. Building a sound life for yourself and your family and your loved ones. Start new. Let go of the things that carry weight on your shoulders. Let it go and give it to a power greater than you, so you can be restored to your sanity, your inner peace, and your happiness. Last but not least, me moving into a new place, and me and my beautiful wife, we're trying to get things together. We had to let go of things too, which caused us to not like that. But we're starting anew. Starting something new can be difficult, can be scary, can be challenging. But that is the wonders of life. I went from active addiction to recovery, starting something new. And my life is getting better and better and better. On the inside of Robert. So I want you to challenge yourself to try things new. I want you to get better on the inside, where you shine like the sun at noontime. This is Robert Goodman for Positive Stroke Staying Clean. Wanting you to have a great and wonderful day. And thank you for allowing me to share my recovery with you.